Hi, everyone. Micah here, founder and CEO of TruFluency Kids Spanish Immersion. And today we are here to talk about Spanish for preschool-aged children. Where in the world do you start, right? So you have a 3 or 4-year-old child and you think, hey, this is a great time to start a second language. And you're right. Absolutely. Research shows that the best time to learn a second language is in your childhood. Now, I have to say, you can absolutely learn a second language as an adult, but kids simply have more time on their hands. For adults, it's really hard to find the time. So adults can do it too. So back to kids. If you've made the decision to introduce your preschooler to a second language, you must also be wondering, what do I do? There are so many free activities that you can do to supplement your live teacher learning. But free activities alone are not going to make your kid fluent without a real live person. Now, of course, the real live person might also be free, but the key component here is real live person. So if you do an activity where there's a live teacher involved, this will ensure that your child speaks Spanish, but only if you are consistent. So think about 2 or 3 hours a week for about 10 years. Here's an analogy if that seems like a crazy amount of time for you. Say you give your child books and TV and songs in Spanish, but your child never actually interacts, uses the language, hears the language in a comprehensible way. It would be as if your child listened to piano music, but never touched a piano, and never played it for hundreds and hundreds of hours, and then you expect your child to play like Mozart. So that's what fluency is. It is mastering something, like playing the piano like Mozart. So if they never actually experience having conversations, listening to the language consistently, and interacting with someone in the language, then no, they will not speak Spanish. So now that that's been said, let's look at some of the activities and what you can do with them and how you can use them. So the first one is TV and songs in Spanish. Wouldn't it be great if you could leave your kid in front of the television every day for an hour and then poof, within a couple of years, they're fluent? Unfortunately, TV and songs alone won't give them any level of fluency. They may just learn a word or two. This is the same for songs. If you hear your child singing a Spanish song, it doesn't mean that they know what they're saying. It just means they learned the sounds to a song. And the words don't really have meaning. We're not saying that the Spanish shows and songs shouldn't be used. We're saying that they shouldn't be used only because it won't make your kid bilingual. Have you ever heard kids say the Pledge of Allegiance when they're 4 and 5 years old? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. It's like a huge mumble of words and sounds connected together. They don't actually know what they're saying most of the time. They're just repeating the sounds. So songs and TV might help with a little bit of vocabulary, maybe, but it definitely helps with the sounds because the kids will mimic it. And it helps with pronunciation. Okay, next, short phrases. You can teach your children short phrases, not vocabulary, please, but a whole phrase. Teaching your kids a Spanish phrase, I would focus on 1 a week, is a great way to increase their ability to speak. You can even check out our YouTube channel or a million other people's YouTube channels on kids Spanish. That will teach you, the parent, a short phrase to use on a daily basis with your child. A good example would be the phrase, ¿Qué quieres comer? What do you want to eat? So if you said this every day at lunchtime, they would start to understand that this means, what do you want to eat? You can write it on a flashcard, leave it somewhere in the kitchen. I like to stick it on the fridge or the coffee pot. And that will kind of serve as a prompt to remind you all week that you're going to be asking, ¿Qué quieres comer? So remember to teach your kids also how to respond to you. We don't want to ask them in Spanish and then they answer in English. So make sure that the kids are saying, quiero, and then whatever food. I want this food. It's okay if they don't know all the foods. Getting at least I want is huge. Quiero, blah, 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 blah. Of course, you'll have to spend a little bit of time researching your weekly phrases and a couple of responses, but this shouldn't take more than 5 minutes, especially if you join our Facebook page. We'll be giving you that every week, no matter what. Okay, finding a preschool that incorporates Spanish. If you can find a preschool that has Spanish every single day, this will get more time with the language. There's a lot of preschools that have a 30-minute Spanish class once a week. That is definitely not enough time to do anything at all. So try to find one that has it every single day. Will this get them fluent? Likely not, but it's more exposure. Our next suggestion is a bilingual babysitter, or a Spanish-only speaking babysitter is what I would do. That's what I'm going to do. So hiring a babysitter whenever you have a date night, or even having a weekly babysitter 2 hours is great. The best time to do this is when your child is very, very young. You don't want to incorporate a Spanish-only speaking babysitter when they are 7. It will be complete confusion. So this babysitter will speak to your child only in Spanish from a very young age. Again, the more hours, the better. So, tricky parts about this approach. The main problem with this approach is that when you're not there, the babysitter might go back to English. And so you have to be firm in telling them. And this is why you have to start when the baby is a baby. If you get a Spanish-only speaking babysitter for a 5-year-old, the babysitter is going to get frustrated and try to start saying things in English because they know more English than your child knows Spanish, and then it's pointless. So be careful with that and start very young. All right, more supplements. Online classes with a live teacher. So this is what we do. If you don't really have the time to be teaching yourself Spanish so that you can teach it to your child, but you don't have the money for a full-time nanny that speaks Spanish or a private tutor that comes to the house multiple times a week, you can do small group classes online with a live teacher. We're not talking about YouTube videos, a live conversation class. So some schools have an after-school program once a week. Once a week is not enough. Try to find an online program that does this 2 to 3 times a week. A lot of times, this is like $12 a class. $12 a class is realistic, all right? Then, when you show your child a song or a Netflix show, they're going to say, oh, I learned that word in my online class with my teacher, having real conversations. And then it will be reinforced when they're listening to songs and shows. And then, of course, the most expensive option is a full-time nanny or a full-time private conversation teacher that will truly focus on your child. Now, of course, private lessons can be $40+ per hour. Doing that 3 times a week, quite expensive. But again, if you would like to have a reasonable cost for getting your child fluent, we do have $15 trial lessons. So feel free to contact us at TruFluency Kids Spanish Immersion. Native speaking teachers, all language teachers, and it helps your child truly acquire the language with consistency, fun, motivation, and the time it truly takes to get bilingual. I hope to see you there.